y'all. Welcome back. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So, this month is special because we have a new Spider Man movie coming out, and it looks awesome, and it's projected to already open to like 500 plus million at the box office. And I really want to focus on Spider Man month, like how I did Supergirl month last month. And I want to start with where it all began with Sam Raimi Spider Man 1. And it really could have just been another superhero movie, but if X Men proved that superhero movies could come out and be taken seriously and be good, Spider Man 1 proved that like superhero movies could come out and be big blockbuster films. And I remember when Spider Man 1 came out, bruh, so many dudes was in there with their girlfriends at the time. So like Spider Man 1 might have been like the weird perfect date movie that just got everybody in the theaters. Like dudes was there with their girls. They had Spider Man shirts. The girls had Spider Man shirts. People started trying to do the upside down kiss for some reason. I'm like, we ain't got nothing to stick to. I was like 7. I was just laughing at people. My mom was like, that was really good. My mom's a big Spider Man fan, and it's funny that like Tobey Maguire was like the choice because he was like he was just getting out of high school, I believe, in Spider Man 1, even though Tobey Maguire was like 26. But it's just so solid. Sam Raimi, the Evil Dead guy, right? Like he was the guy they picked to do a Spider-Man movie, and funny enough, it was one of the best superhero movies of its time. And honestly, I still really like Spider-Man 1. Like I think it is one of the most well-paced superhero movies still after 24 years. I think it is one of the most incredibly paced superhero movies that just like blew the world away back in 2002. And I go back to being a little kid every time I see it. But released back in 2002, it was an origin movie because I mean everyone knows Spider-Man's origin, but why not do Spider-Man's origin when it's really good? And it's about a shy, intelligent high school student named Peter Parker who struggles to fit in while living with his loving aunt and uncle. Everything changes, when he's bitten by that spider on that class trip. But when he goes through, I like to call it a meth trip because that's what that scene is. It's a meth trip, and he wakes up the next day. He realizes he can't really see out his glasses. He's got more energy. He's a little more muscular, just randomly, and all these things in the middle. Now, I do think it's funny when he like is first starting to realize he has powers, and he starts doing all this funny stuff, and I like that he immediately is like, I can get some money and goes into wrestling, which is again, they do the origin story really well. He has the suit he wears to go to the wrestling match is perfect. It is literally like right off the comics. And I like that he just kind of starts testing his powers. In that fight, he tests his powers out in the streets and this like third. It does lead into the saddest scene in the movie, which is him letting the guy go, which gets Uncle Ben killed, which is still so heartbreaking. I think it's one of Toby's best performed scenes. And I just think that when he goes to chase the guy, he's really using his powers. And it's like, yo, he's really like doing it. He starts climbing the wall. The weird, like, rubbery 2002 CGI that's not as noticeable because it's dark, but the weird, like, noise that he makes when he's jumping. Like, Toby made some weird noises. But it is it's done so well. I think they do the like him getting bitten to him, going to the wrestling match, testing his powers to him chasing the guy down and letting him die is like some of the best superhero origin movie stuff still to this day. They do it so perfectly well that it's hard to believe that they even did it as good. It's so weird. Right? Like it's done so well that it's hard to believe that it's that good, but it is. And it is great because Cliff Robertson, I think his name is still Uncle Ben to me. I think he looked like him, sounded like him, he felt like him. He was the perfect Uncle Ben, and watching him, die in Tobey Maguire's like that whole sequence is really well done. Especially after that big argument they have, and with great power comes great responsibility, which is done very well by Cliff Robertson as well. Now, in determined to honor Uncle Ben's memory, Peter becomes Spider Man, the newest hero slash menace, thanks to the best casted person in 2000 superhero media, which is J.K. Simmons and J. Jonah Jameson. And meanwhile, Harry is struggling under the shadow of Norman. Norman is a scumbag pretty much from the moment we see him. But he is testing that unstable serum throughout the time. So all the Spider-Man stuff is going on, but then we also get all of the Norman Osborn stuff going on. And I love the way they juggle between the two. It is some of the best juggling between the hero to the villain, each in every step of the way until we get to the end to this day. Anyway, and it does transform him into the Goblin, and it's just one of the coolest things ever. Still, now as Spider-Man Goblin, as Spider-Man rises, Goblin begins like a campaign of doing his own stuff across the city. You know, destroying things. You know, it is going on. He's like attacking people that wronged him. They got him out of his own company. He's like, bro, this is mine. And while Spider Man's doing his thing, Goblin's over here doing his thing, and they don't know about each other until they cross each other at the middle point, which is that like celebration where MJ is being MJ and whatever. I still feel like the one thing the Raimi movies did wrong was Mary Jane Watson. She's just so not MJ to me. But continuing on. Now, I do want to throw in like what made this movie so special. It's like how groundbreaking the movie was. And they were not comic book movies were not a guaranteed success at the time. And like Blade and X-Men, like I said, they were cool, but Spider-Man really broke the ground for like blockbuster money. And the action, the humor, the romance, the heartfelt drama, it wasn't no superhero movie had done this. No superhero movie had built their universe quite as well as this movie did. And Spider-Man 1 isn't even that long of a film, I don't think. I think Spider-Man 1 might be just over 2 hours. It might just be over 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours 1. 2 hours 1, and it did so much with 2 hours that most superhero movies today can't do with an hour 50. So it is really something to think about when he just seeing how Peter's trying to become a better person while protecting a city full of crime and all these other things. Now, I want to add in that obviously Spider-Man had some marketing things before a certain moment happened that changed America forever. And I believe the marketing had to change some of that marketing because of that. But then also the movie's ending definitely was more come together, we're stronger together type thing with the, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us type thing. That was obviously supposed to be um, a nod to that moment that happened in history a year before this movie came out. And I love the way they incorporated such a recent big thing that happened to that city and put it in the movie. That it just made Spider-Man all the more relevant. It just made Spider-Man feel so much more personal, but also giving that hopeful feeling that we can always work together to make things that happen badly come out strong. So I will say I appreciated that they did that. I'm not even from New York, so but I do love that that was thrown in. It's a little like 9/11, but it made sense at the time. It made so much sense at the time. Now, going into some things. Now we have Willem Dafoe's Goblin. I just want to talk about Goblin and Spider Man themselves. Now, I do love the fact that Peter resonated with audiences at the time because most guys at the time we were still trying to be the rough and tough guy all the time. I think being the nerdy guy didn't really start becoming like kind of cool till like 2015, 2016, around that era. But like back then, everybody wanted to be the rough and tough guy. Peter being the quiet, more, graceful, I guess would be a dumb term, but that type of guy. And the awkward, kind-hearted dude, but he was still relatable, And his struggles with confidence, relationships, finances, and responsibility, it just made him feel like a regular person that we wanted to see win. And I do think that Sam Raimi did such a good job of making him feel like that. And I also do love the fact that he kind of had some game. He had a little bit of game because, like, what was it? She was like, "Oh, take my picture, but don't make me look ugly." He's like, "That's impossible." I'm like, "All right, Peter, I see what you're doing there. I see you got some game." You know what I'm saying? So like, it. I like that he could be a little smooth when he wanted to be. You know what I mean? So it was nice. He felt like the everyday guy, and it actually worked. Because sometimes trying to make someone the everyday guy or the relatable guy comes off kind of annoying and a little frustrating. But here it's done with like the right amount of realism that it works for like pretty much everyone. And going into Defoe's Goblin, the performance of still in this movie and a movie later on, Willem Dafoe is just great from start to finish. Every scene Willem Dafoe is in, he nails it. Pretty much, he is one of the best versions of Green Goblin ever put to screen. Animated, comic, movie. He is like one of the best goblins. Now he did such a good job of switching between just a douchey dad with that vulnerability of losing everything to the insanity that makes him so unhinged and crazy and you don't know what he's going to do next. And Willem Dafoe has such an emotive, expressive face that it's almost more terrifying that he's Goblin when he doesn't have the mask on. But he also has that voice. And I think they wanted him to be able to emote, which is why he ended up having the Power Ranger helmet, Power Ranger helmet mask instead of an actual goblin, which I know was the plan, and they had an animatronic for it, but they couldn't quite match it to the the voice acting. And I know they wanted Willem Dafoe to be able to emote as well as he could, so they opted with the Power Ranger mask so Willem Dafoe could express himself more. I ultimately understand. I just wish the animatronic worked out because I think it would have been a lot more terrifying, other than the big old green mask. But he is a very physically committed goblin. He's very physically committed, just like he's always been. Defoe has proven he's one of the best actors ever to act. So we're just gonna go on with that. But let's be honest, Spider-Man One does a lot. That's why we're still talking like responsibility over selfishness, sacrifice for the people you love, the cost of living a double life, choosing compassion over revenge, and the burden of doing what's right even when no one knows. And that is pretty much the whole point of Spider-Man. He does everything right even though everyone thinks he's wrong, or he does everything right even though he can't get what he wants in the end. It is so painful in Spider-Man 1 at the end when he like pretty much doesn't choose MJ because he doesn't think it's right, and she kisses him at the grave, but it's like it is a rough scene. It's a good way. It's a great ending, by the way, but it is like damn, like this was Spider-Man 1. This movie is incredible. It holds up so well. Like you could talk about the effects, but the writing, the storytelling, the character progression, the development, the movie holds up better than some of the movies today. Like it just holds up really well, and I think that like people should go back and just focus more on like the story. You would see like this was a very big movie at the time. This was a very big like theatrical event. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man One dominated the entire summer when it came out. So I just man, yeah, for the first Spider-Man movie to hit theaters, it knocked it out of the park, and I think Sony realized they needed to. Like Sony really realized they needed to knock it out the park, and they did. And yes, I will say for the most part, I do think Spider-Man One still holds up. I do think going into when they finally meet each other at the end, and the final battle between Peter and Goblin, which I forgot to mention, is one of the most violent. It is probably the most violent sequence in the Raimi verse. It's gotta be. That is, he gets a bomb blown up in his face and he gets the crap beat out of him real bad. And then, the famous glider tackle, which is fresh out the comics, by the way. A little cooler than the comic, but fresh out the comic. That sequence when I was a kid did kind of scare me because I was like, bruh, he blew up a bomb in his face and beat the crap out of him, and it wasn't even like a joke how bad he beat him up. Like, and apparently it was supposed to be more violent than that. I was like, how do you get more violent than this? When you break his arm, like, how do you get more violent than this? So yeah, like I think Spider-Man One is fire. Like you got to see Spider-Man One. If you've never seen Spider-Man One, what rock are you under? One, two. If you had a weird opinion on Spider-Man One, I'd highly recommend going back to watch it. I really think people should go back and watch it. But I think I should probably end it on that note. So, like, 24 years later, I think Spider Man remains just one of the most influential superhero movies ever made, bar none. And it didn't simply just launch a successful trilogy, but it really helped redefine what comic book movies could be at that time with all the limitations and things like that. But its emotional storytelling, its memorable performances, that unforgettable music scored by Danny Elfman, and that timeless message continue to resonate with us today. And with that, I'm going to end it here. If you liked what I had to say, leave a like anyway. If you didn't, comment, subscribe, let me know how you feel down below. And I'll see you on the next one.